It's the classic party food selection. The peanuts, the egg sandwiches, the sweets that no one knows the name of, the marshmallows and the jelly beans, the Pringles and the dip. This was all that was available until now. The new super sweet has been invented. The king of all party snacks, which will change the landscape of sweets for the rest of the world. There it is. The sweets became too powerful. They began sprouting limbs until they formed a fully functioning man. It taught itself how to sit up, then to stand. Eventually they became so powerful they began to lift weights. Then disaster struck. They began multiplying. Eventually there was an army of the little stick men, and the world was in grave danger. The men wreaked havoc in the peanut world and eventually moved on to the ham sandwich. Soon the whole sweet kingdom was under their control. The monsters then moved on to Beverage City, running amok amongst the townspeople and buildings. The Red Bull building, Fruit Shoot Towers, the Twin Coke Towers and the Schweppes building, and to a lesser extent the orange drink with no brand. The monsters climbed the buildings. It may have looked kind of gay the way they were holding each other, but it was a very serious matter. Buildings being mounted by little tiny sweet monsters. There was no hope in sight for the people of the city, and they had all given up hope, turned to drinking, gambling, rioting in the streets. But then they were duly crushed by the monsters, who decided to climb the towers in celebration of their victory over the people. Soon, however, the sweet people grew tired of climbing the buildings, got bored and destroyed Beverage City. All at once, the staple of a nation, destroyed by the sweet monsters. No one could comprehend how much damage they caused. One glimmer of hope for the townsfolk was that, well, not the townsfolk, they're dead, but the country looked on in awe at the Diet Coke Tower, which had failed to fall. But that glimmer of hope was taken away from them when the tower, 15 minutes later, was felled by the monsters, who figured out that if you damage the foundations of the bottle, it shall fall. The nation, once again, was stunned. The price of snacks had taken over all the industries, including sports and motor vehicles. Here from the helicopter view we can see the full extent of the damage. The monsters stormed the track and tipped over the racer's car, both drivers assumed dead. People had lost all hope in the food industry, and there seemed to be no hope for the rest of the world. But then a big Land Rover came and ploughed into them, and that was the end of the monsters. Monsters crushed under the weight of a Hummer, coincidentally driven by the mayor of California, whose statement said, "Everybody get down, there is a monster." The governor, who hailed as a hero, put the Jeep on display in California for everybody to see. The heroic vehicle that is the Hummer, who it turns out that it is actually good for the planet, and not bad, as previously assumed.